Thursday night. I know it's a big night for college. I miss it. So I wanted to start off on a positive note and say the best is yet to come. The real world is so much more fun than this. Let me just say, once you have a job, then it's like terrible. But I just want to go over a little like why I'm here. Basically, I'm just going to give a little background about myself, and then talk about what I do at AddThis currently as a media planner, and then just share a little story that'll hopefully give you guys encouraging words and some hope into this real world, and then some takeaways for you guys to apply if you want to. If not, it's fine. So a little bit about me. I went to Virginia Tech, go Hokies. I don't think Florida for Hokie fans, but we suck at football too, so it doesn't matter. But I did hear you guys lost last game. But I did bring cool sunglasses that are orange, so you could wear them to the stadium. You can scratch off AddThis if you don't care. So a little bit of background of experience for myself. I started and launched this startup company called Intern Sushi, or I didn't start it, but I helped launch. And now it's known as Career Sushi. It has nothing to do with sushi. And my first real gig was at the Media Kitchen in New York City, and I worked on media planning and buying for Victoria's Secret Pink, the Justin Bieber and Nicki Minaj fragrances. So it was a heck of an amazing job as my first real world experience because I was the target. I was basically stalking people's spring break experiences with Victoria's Secret Pink when I was just out of school. So that was like awesome. And then the next gig I did was at MediaVest, and I know a lot of you guys heard Jordan speak. He was actually my teammate, and I focused 100% on digital buying with him. We didn't cross brands. I did more of like the Simply Minute Maid, Dasani, etc. And now I'm currently back in Virginia, where I'm from, and working at AddThis, which is a complete 180 from the agency side, but more of like a publisher and data platform. So I'm going to explain a little bit about AddThis. I'm still like a month in, so half this stuff might not be true, but let's just go with it. So AddThis, we look like the Swiss Army flag, but whatever. We're well known in the industry because we're founded on social sharing widgets. So if you guys don't know what a widget is, it's basically when you're reading content or watching a video and you want to share something, you see those buttons, those like creatively looking social buttons. We were basically founded on that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Comscore, but they're the leading technology company that kind of validates any like digital company out there to say, okay, you're legit. Comscore actually validated AddThis as the largest and the only person in the industry or company that can reach the most unique users or unique audiences in the internet. So we reach, it's really creepy, that AddThis can see what 98% of the whole US internet audience does, and we basically stalk you. And how do we stalk people's behaviors? It's through our widgets. Any blog you see these days, you're going to see all these sharing buttons, right? And most likely it's going to be an AddThis button. And these buttons are on like 13 million sites, and that's a lot of domain sites that we're gathering information from, and it's all real time. In our headquarters where I work, we have like 6 huge screens that like show spikes and downfalls in like data collection. But what data do we collect? I'm sure you're wondering. So we find brand advocates. So I know there's a lot of buzz and jargon out there, like find all your social fans. Like that means BS to me. Like I don't care that you're following or liking someone. I want to know more if you're really interested in a certain brand, right? So instead of just fans or followers or likers, we see if you're printing the content. And believe it or not, printing is still the #1 way of people consuming content. There are other people than millennials out there, so people are printing it and reading it, highlighting it maybe. And then we also see copy and paste behavior. So we see if you're copying it and then like linking it in your own personal blog or sharing it through, because some people don't use the Facebook button, right? You might copy the link and put it in your status. We can capture when that happens as well. At the same time, people still use email. Like my mom will email me like just a URL of like an article with no subject line, but that's a way of sharing, right? And you want to capture that as a sort of like data to analyze. And lastly, viewing, right? Are people actually reading this, or are they like just skimming it and sharing it? So we have a technology where we know how long or how deep into the article you got because of the scrolling, or like how long this person is reading about the pumpkin spice latte and how it's really not pumpkin, right? And so just an example about this is, for instance, anyone, just name a brand.
Papa John's.
Papa John's. Okay, I saw a lot of Papa John's around this area. But, so Papa John's, right, they might come to us and it's like, we know who our customer is, right? So then we're like, okay, so yeah, you know your followers, you have X million fans, whatever, on Facebook. But did you know that women 18 to 34 are the ones printing like Papa John's nutrition facts? Who knows? I'm making it up. And did you know like males 34 to 59 are the ones reading more into like Papa John's and how it relates to sports, because they cover all these sports sponsorships, right? So we're able to show brands deeper analysis of what their consumer or potential consumers are doing on the internet and how we can place digital ads in front of them. So this is basically what AddThis does in a nutshell, but how does this affect what I do day to day, right? So my day to day kind of starts when brands need solutions, and the likes of AT&T, American Express, Starbucks, and Ford. These are all actual brands and agencies on behalf of these brands. When they reach out to me, I work heavily in PowerPoint and Excel, make imagery, so it's a digestible information for them to perhaps use in their upcoming holiday campaign or full year brand initiative. And in Excel is like my #1. I hated Excel in college, like hated it, but it's like the best source because I'm able to formulate like margins or efficient pricing so people are willing to like work with us. At the same time, AddThis is very much still a startup-esque company. We're approaching our 10-year, but I guarantee you, like we still, like literally guys wear cargo shorts to work, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and half of the people I sit next to are coders and developers because we're technology first, and they play ping pong and foosball half the day, and or I'm like in the kitchen eating all the free snacks because like it's free and it's there. But that's like a mentality of this industry where it's work hard, you play hard, right? So they trust us to work hard, build this relationship with clients, agencies, and brands, but also work hard and put really digestible and actionable solutions for them, right? And if everything goes well, we help put executions up live, and we go multi-screen. So on desktop, tablet, and mobile, we're there. So I just wanted to go through an example with a recent partnership we had with Starbucks. So Starbucks.com, if you go on it, well, no one goes on Starbucks.com is my thing, but our tools are on their page. And I think right now in the industry, it's like people want to drive to the brand site, but why are you even driving them there? Like they could care less about the nutrition facts or whatnot. But Starbucks is definitely leveraging currently our technology, and we wanted to further our partnership with them, so we dug deep into our data and found out no one's really looking at Starbucks created content, right? So they're actually the #1 search thing on the internet is for the secret Starbucks menu. I don't know about it, but like a lot of bloggers cover it. Like BuzzFeed did a whole list on it, and like ABC News is actually one of our publishers that have our tools on there. Their data actually validated this. So we went to Starbucks and told them, for this upcoming holiday campaign or before the holiday cups roll out, how about we leverage this audience that we can prove to you in numbers? And so they agreed. And so we just signed another huge deal with them, and that'll be rolling out in Q1, first quarter of next year. Sorry, I really don't want to be professional, but I have to. Another reason why I'm here today is because I know it's frustrating. We're definitely trying to get into this industry where it's so non-traditional. Like all your finance friends and all your IT friends, they're gonna have jobs at the wazoo. Like people are gonna be like coming to them and you're gonna kill me now. Like no one's responding to my application. Or like give me an break and like give me like an internship. But I just want to say, like, hang in there, and the best you can do is like keep up with the trends. Like one day one startup could be acquired by this big company, and like recently Yahoo came out and said, like, you know, we didn't even touch Tumblr's like, you know, like Tumblr at the core, although Yahoo bought Tumblr, and they've grown exponentially because they were able to leverage Yahoo's, you know, clout over this industry. And so I think it's very important that you hang in there and look at the light at the end of the tunnel, because you'll get a break. And so I wanted to share something relatable to your news, actually, with the New York trip. And I titled this, "You Just Never Know." My junior year of college, I definitely was interested in visiting agencies, and I think first getting to step into the environment is like so important. Like sometimes you might read about the culture, hear about it, but once you're there, you're like, you actually see yourself there. And we visited Saatchi & Saatchi, and there I met Rosie Simon, and then we visited KBS, and which is like the advertising arm for the Media Kitchen, where I met Allison Walton, who was a Hokie alum. So the reason I bring this up is because alums are a huge part in it. They're going to be your advocates in the work field. And I've visited some other big places, and I don't have a bad thing against big agencies, but I just don't like them. And then at those visits, I definitely left my resume, got their business cards, and like only hoped that someone would reach out to me. But it's not like it's a one-way street, right? So I followed up with people that I made personal connections with. Like, I'm a twin, so I would always tell everyone I'm a twin so they would remember me. And so I would like bring that up in my email. And before I knew it, it was graduation, and I had no job. I had not even applied to a single like sales opportunity or marketing, because I was that stubborn. I wanted to be in advertising. And so I was that graduate, just being like, I'm gonna have a free summer after I graduated. But then I got a phone call from the Media Kitchen. And they asked me straight up, hey, like, we want you to come in for an interview. What account do you think is more appealing? Armani Exchange or the Justin Bieber fragrance? And I was like, Justin Bieber fragrance. Like, that is so easy, and like he's probably crazy that like it's just gonna be so exciting. So after I scheduled that interview, I reached back out to those I met. So Allison was pulling strings for me internally, giving me the updates on who would be interviewing me, like watch out for this director, she may seem stern but she's really nice, this person would be your senior, so make sure you relate with her. And then I also reached out to Rosie. So at this time, she wasn't at Saatchi & Saatchi anymore, she had gone to 360i. So she basically responded with something I did not expect. She told me that her actually soon-to-be husband was the Chief Innovations Officer at KBS, which, like I said before, is the advertising agency overarching the Media Kitchen. So he basically sits with all the seniors, like, you know, whatever starts with a C, like those people. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she was like, here's his email, just tell him that you talked to me. And I was like, okay. So I emailed him, and he responded back. Like, it was a huge risk. I remember just sitting there, like, I don't want to send this, but I sent it. And he responded back, and the first thing he said to me straight up was, the only reason I responded back to you is because love of my life is the one referring you to me, and she wouldn't stop talking about you. And I was like, that's good. And then he told me, he straight up emailed me his phone number and said, give me a ring after your interview once you're in town. And so I went to New York for my first job interview in person, and went and met with the team. Definitely knew in my gut, like I could learn a lot from them. I clicked with them. They asked me what my favorite app was. Like, I was like, these people get me. And then I was done with my interview. I knew I nailed it, and I had to call Ferris. And I'm like, how do I just call up the Chief Innovations Officer? But I did, and he met me. You could look him up after this, or right now, it doesn't matter. And he's crazy, he has dreads, like he is published a lot in the industry, and so I had done my research, so I was really intimidated. But he said, let's go for a walk to a pub. And this is like 3 p.m., and I had just done my first real world experience of an interview, and so we're talking over a pint of beer each, and we're just like talking, and he was basically feeling me out, like, am I really interested? Did I do my research? But at the same time, he was asking me like one-off questions, like, what's your favorite color? But he's really weird like that, and I appreciated that he was very candid. The one lucky thing that I had with him was afterwards, he was so honest with me, like, hey, I really like you, like, I think I'm gonna give good remarks to the talent manager, so like, don't worry about it, I think it'll be good. And I was like, do I trust him, or like, is this false hope? But I got the job. So it was great, and so I came on an interview on Tuesday, I got the job on a Friday, started the next week. So it was a whirlwind, and I know this is very non-traditional, but you can talk to anyone that is in this industry right now, like no one got there traditionally. There's no like, okay, fine, some people get that internship and then get it the summer following, right? But it's very rare that you hear that. It's who you know. You might not know that they're important, but they can definitely pull some strings for you. And so I kind of want to finalize, or wrap this up with some tips, and the first thing being follow up. Definitely show your personality when you have time to meet with someone or face-to-face, and then tell them that you appreciate that they're taking time for you. And in the follow-ups, like stand out. You guys know a cluttered inbox, right? Like I just remember scheduling group projects meetings, and I was like, why can't this girl just get off her work shift? You know, like, and to stand out in front of someone that's actually in the real world, like you have to do something crazy. Like what I did was, in all caps in the subject line, I would say blame whoever gave me their contact information, because that was the one tying me to that person, right? So to the CMO of North America Publicis, I wrote, blame Donna Wordelick, which was my professor. And he responded back and was like, hello? Like, what did you want? And I was like, I just wanted to ask some like informational questions, etc. But he ended up linking me to an informational interview at Publicis during my winter break. So like, you never know how people can help you. And LinkedIn is not just for old people. I love LinkedIn now because you'll soon understand this industry. Everyone bops around. I'm like 3 years outside of college, I think, and I'm already on my third job. And I've already worked on major accounts, right? And you never know where one person will go, and like, you definitely want to stay in contact with them. You want to be on their good side. You don't want to make any enemies. And next, I would say take risks. Definitely reaching out on email. Don't get your hopes up, because sometimes, most likely, you won't get a response, but sometimes you will. And once you build that rapport, don't be afraid to ask them to grab coffee. Or if you're in town in New York or Chicago or Boston or wherever, be like, hey, I'm going to be in town, just wondering if you could step out for like coffee, and then buy their coffee for them too. Like that's another tip, like thank you for your time, you know. And then lastly, I would say be patient. Like I said, there's no cycle, and I just remember the struggle was real my senior year, and I just literally was a nerd about following what account I would potentially want to work on, where it was moving from.